Hi again, folks. This is Barry from Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. And today we're going to be demonstrating something that's a little bit different than the norm in that the customer has asked me to use his original connectors when performing a conversion, which that can be done, and the only sacrifice is that you don't get quite as much audio power as the conversion has to offer, but the converter radio still ends up being a little bit more powerful than the original radio, and using the original connectors, especially with a Chrysler unit, allows you to retain the dash-mounted fader controls and also that crossover box that sends a mixture of the left-right signals to the single front speaker. And so that being stated, this radio has been converted to modern electronics, and it is now capable of receiving FM. And we're just going to turn this thing on and give it a quick run through all of its functions and make sure that everything's cool. Since this customer is only using his original speaker setup, I only have basically the two what would be the original speakers hooked up, and I have installed extra wires just in case this customer wants to later on hook up a second set of speakers, whether it be for permanent installation or to be able to cruise with 4 speakers but still knock it back down to 2 speakers for car shows. So with that all being out of the way, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. I have it set to FM at the moment.
Imagine a bank free of institutional constraints and conditions,
and I have all 5 of the push-button presets set to FM stations, so we're just going to run through those real quick.
When the beneficiaries pay back the family bank,
Ahmad Rahami transferred from New Jersey to New York.
Ahmad Rahami's face could be irrelevant and overlooked within the...
Okay, there we go.
The Mattress Center has 3 locations.
Ideas to go to crown.org. Counts, including using weapons of mass destruction.
Okay, and now we're just going to switch to the output level meters for a moment here. That's not the output level meters, but this is. And we're just going to rotate the balance control, make sure that we have control between the left and right spatiality.
Police chief is defending the actions of his officers after the fatal shooting of a black man there.
Right only.
Chief says officers gave the man who they say was
back to center.
Warnings before one of
and of course we have our tone control and
killing it. Heshia Williams is a neighbor who witnessed.
There's our base position and up to our choke position, and then of course we have our manual tuning control. And
so that when we
okay, so now we're going to switch this thing over to AM, and the way that we switch bands on a converter radio is we turn it off and then turn it right back on if it does not have an original AM/FM selector switch, which this one of course would not because it's an AM radio. So we're just going to turn the volume control or turn the power off and then right back on within about half a second, and that will cause the radio to change functions. Let's bring the radio back into the foreground, and here we go. Turn it off, on, right back on, and now we're an AM band. And I'm going to rotate it to the one good station that we get in this area. It's about 11:30.
Found a metal pipe near his mother's side road home that he used to attack the victims. Anita Wells
and there's our AM radio. And we might get another one, a weak station, close to 1400. There we are. Okay, so now that we demonstrated that, we're going to switch it back to FM, and again we turn it off and then right back on, off, on, and we're back on FM. And there's an FM station. Okay, and now we're going to demonstrate the 8-track function, and I just need to find one of my favorite tapes here. I've got some Temptations around here somewhere, and if I can't find that, then we'll just pop another one in there. But the Temptation is a known good tape, so that's the one that I would prefer to use. But it looks like it's not going to be immediately available at the moment, so let me just find a good tape I can pop in there. I don't know what I do with the other one. And I'll be right back. Alrighty, I have managed to find a little Partridge Family, so we're just going to pop some Partridge Family in there and make sure the 8-track works properly. Now on this particular unit, the customer elected to remove and keep his track change plunger, which is also the eject plunger, and that's perfectly fine. I would actually rather the customer does keep that, and that will eliminate any possibility of the question of who's in possession of it. So we'll just temporarily use this to push in that plunger and change tracks just to make sure that it works. Okay, now on this model, the way to eject a tape, you can either turn the unit off and the tape will come out by itself, or you can pull on that track change plunger. And since, of course, we don't have that right now, I'll turn the unit off, which will cause the tape to eject, and there we go. It makes it easy to grab, so we'll turn it back on. And since FM was the last function we were using, it remained on FM. Now, anytime you turn the unit off, for more than about 2 or 3 seconds, it will retain the last function that you were using. And then the last thing to check is the line input. And now the line input is automatically activated whenever there's audio present at the terminal or at the jack. So we're just gonna activate it with a test tone and make sure it switches over. Okay, there's our line input, and it switched over from the radio, as you can see. And we'll check the other channel. Okay, so we have line input through both sides. Now, on units that have both an 8-track and a line input, after you use the line input, there is a 20-second delay with complete silence until the radio comes back in, and that's because it is designed to hold on to the signal, the external signal, a little bit longer than necessary, just to make sure it's not constantly switching back and forth between songs or during silent music passages. And so, as we can see, the radio came back by itself. And if you don't like the delay, all you have to do is just turn the unit off, turn it right back on, and it cancels out that delay function. So we've tested every function on this cool 1970 Chrysler unit. Everything's working properly. It's set up to work with the customer's original Common Ground speaker system. And thank you very much for watching and listening.